Guy, first of all, I'm a little dolled up today. I apologize. I was on the network earlier, but I mean, you look like your ass is dragging, bro. I mean,
Dragging.
and, I'm not coming at you.
Dragging. No, I know you're not coming at me. You're talking truth, man. I'm dragging ass. My ass is dragging. I mean, both of those things.
That's, all right. You don't say ass like 14 times in one sentence, but
it wasn't 14 times. I said I'm dragging ass. My ass is dragging, and it's twice. No, I am better than that, and I am tired. I think a lot of people are tired. I think the entire nation is tired. We've had this thing going on, which seems like, the last 13 years. I mean, too much, enough.
It is. I mean, these are dog years, and it's hard to believe. And in fact, I had to go far and away. I realize this is all about where the ballots are being counted on the mail-ins. I actually drove pretty far to get to my home polling station, which meant an extra overnight trip. No one's feeling bad for me. I'm just saying, dragging a little bit too. But I mean, this news cycle is one. I think for markets, there's also been an opportunity to get away from the COVID dynamics and the market. And meanwhile, COVID is sadly rearing its ugly head to record proportions. And I'm afraid that is something that news cycle is going to continue onward. But from a market's perspective around the elections, expectation of uncertainty, now we may have more certainty, although we have a Senate race that could drag into the next, feels like decade. But the news cycles get long, man. And in 24/7 news, sometimes, you feel like you're watching that movie that'll never end.
Yeah. Like Reds. It's like that movie was over. It
rattled
was
3
hours and 15 frickin' minutes, and it could have been $1.50, maybe $1.45.
So you didn't find the romance in that, though? I mean, Diane Keaton and Beatty. I
Jack
thought
Nicholson,
Warren Beatty looked like a moron. First, he looked like a moron. He might as well be wearing like an ascot as a Bolshevik.
You spent time in the Soviet Union, so I mean, I think it was probably still the Soviet Union when you were there. Paul Sorvino was in that movie. Here, little known fact for you.
Yeah, all right.
Part of Reds, filmed, I believe, in 1981, if memory serves, was filmed in Croton-on-the-Hudson.
Come on, what? First of all, if it was filmed in Croton-on-the-Hudson, all it does is kind of endorse the fact this is a dreary, kind of dark.
Which is what I've been telling you.
I mean, I don't know how you guys did with Chernobyl over there, but
well, it's funny you mentioned Chernobyl, because we grew up in the shadow of Indian Point. I mean, Indian Point being one of the major nuclear power plants, it was in our backyard. So
here I am again.
So there you go.
I'm a bad guy. Now I'm a bad guy.
You brought it up.
This was a sensitive social issue. You might have, you might have web feet right now, for all I know. By the way, the whole No Nukes thing created such great music, though, man. I mean, that No Nukes. I don't remember that No Nukes concert that was at the Garden.
Jackson Brown. I mean,
Jackson Brown, Bonnie Raitt.
Sure.
I mean, it was incredible. And then there was the No Nukes concert that was in Central Park on the Great Lawn, and I think it was 81. It might have been right when you were done being an extra in Reds and headed down from Croton. And because I mean, I remember that concert in Central Park. I cut school. I was in high school. My parents had no idea what I was doing, I think. And great tunes back then. Anyway, so
I don't think you give them enough credit. By the way, there's a great article my friend Nadav Lahavi sent me, and
of course,
there's a whole podcast, by the way, on Nadav, which we will do at some point because it's fascinating. But
love Nadav's work.
The summer, basically the year of 1977, the concerts in New York City, it was an epic year for concerts. And he's right, because I went to at least 3 of them, Boston being one of them. And what I didn't remember.
What does this have to do with No Nukes?
You mentioned concerts. You were talking about concerts.
I don't need a reason.
In my head.
I don't need a reason to be here. So, all right, we're talking about
Sammy Hagar was the warm-up, whatever,
55.
for Boston in that 77 tour. Anyway, sorry.
Wow. So as I think Kiss was my first arena show in 77. And I believe it was the Love Gun tour, which I still don't understand what they meant by that.
Well, that's a hard one to decipher.
Yeah.
That's like our friend, we have to have him on, the drummer from Third Eye Blind. Same thing.
Hargraves. Yeah, that's right. The third eye is blind. But then I saw Boston twice. Also, I saw them once at the Garden, and then, we got into the family truckster, a.k.a. the station wagon, and drove out to the Nassau Coliseum, the mausoleum, if I may.
The mausoleum, a horrible place.
It's a terrible place, as are the Islanders, and really almost anything out there.
And since we're talking about horrible uniforms, which we weren't talking about, but we're talking about the Gorton's God, might be the worst of all time. Right, I think it was with the Vancouver Canucks. Remember those
they looked like the
V's going
Paris.
down.
And but again, they were so bad they were good, kind of like those Houston Astros jerseys. Although I shouldn't bring up Houston because I know it's still a tough issue for you. But those were terrible jerseys.
It's interesting you bring up Houston because I know as a Met fan you're dying for George Springer to bring his talents to Shea.
I'm not
and it's just
bring his talents to Flushing.
It ain't happening.
I don't care. I need Trevor Bauer. Speaking of Reds, I need the Reds' Trevor Bauer to come pitch in Flushing. He needs to bring his talents to Flushing. And I think we're going to be okay. But look, it's Mets have, by the way, better uniforms. The irony is, of course, people talk about the Yankee pinstripes, and the Mets have the best uniforms in New York. Everybody knows that too. I mean, it's not even
that is so preposterous. I mean, I think if you put up a poll on like a Twitter poll and really put it out there.
All right, so let's. You know what? We're doing that.
80-20 against.
I think we can do a Mets Yankees 80-20. I'll take the under.
The Mets uniforms are they're which ones you talking about? One of like 9 different uniforms they have, which that in and of itself is ridiculous.
I'm talking about the classic blue jersey, and the white, whatever, the gray pants. I think it says no more. Although, we wear pinstripes too. And I think we look a little bit better in our pinstripes. So,
remember we started this by saying Reds lasted too long?
Yeah.
Well, I think this might be lasting too long. It's Friday. People are exhausted. I know we didn't talk a lot about the market, but we talked about a lot of things that don't matter, which, today that's okay, Tim.
You know what? Get some sleep, my man. And we'll see you on the best uniforms of sports on the web.
Talk to you Monday.